Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. We're just a week away from the beginning of Lent, a time that's traditionally seen as something of a spiritual battle, a time of penance and purification to accompany Christ in the desert before the victory of Easter. It is most certainly a time of resolutions, but it really intensifies what should be happening all year, although in a heightened sense. The title of this week's Nugget is Jesus in Time of War and Peace. We've all heard the phrase that there are no atheists in foxholes, meaning obviously that when in great danger, even those who claim not to believe in God cry out for help and protection. The Lord himself told us that just when everything seems calm and normal, that's the moment when the reckoning might come. And in the famous parable of the rich man building his barn, thinking he can enjoy a life of ease, God calls him a fool, whose soul will be required that very night. It's a truism that faith in times of peace and plenty is often weak and feeble, perhaps why at least until now the faith has been deteriorating in the West. It's also true that when the church is persecuted, often the faith is strengthened, and the witness of the martyrs builds up the body of Christ. This is not always the case, though. St. Cyril of Jerusalem, writing in the 4th century, gave us our words to meditate upon for this week and perhaps to think about as we prepare to receive the ashes, that symbolic start of our Lenten purification. St. Cyril wrote, "Do not rejoice in the cross in time of peace only, but hold fast to the same faith in time of persecution also. Do not be a friend of Jesus in time of peace, and his foe in time of wars. When wars shall come, strive nobly for your king." What rich food in that one sentence. It's easy to proclaim our Christianity in time of peace, when it brings no suffering or unpleasant consequences. We can be friends of Jesus, perhaps politicians who wear our ash crosses prominently on our heads, without the reality of making the hard choice of what being a public Catholic means. But it's not just politicians, though. Nominal Christianity or fair-weather friendship with Christ has no hardship, especially if it doesn't translate into difficult daily choices to do the good. Peace, as we know, is not just the absence of war. It can very easily mean the conditions of a secular, prosperous culture which has until now been, at least in an exterior sense, culturally Christian. War is also not just bombs and bullets. It's when the practice of the faith becomes difficult, when public hostility grows, when Catholic teaching is ridiculed and abhorred. The perfect example is what happened to believers under the twin horrors of Nazism and communism. Aggressive secularism and the growing antipathy towards Catholicism in Western Europe and the progressive forces in the United States is giving us a taste of that kind of war, which will undoubtedly get worse. This is when, even though there are beautiful and glorious examples, peacetime friends of Christ become, as St. Cyril said, often his foes in time of war. His exhortation is our word for Lent, to strive, to struggle, to fight vigorously, nobly, for our King. Brethren, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, like a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.